Do you want to add a greater sense of realism to your writing, to your story? Then this one simple technique, yet deep technique, is going to add great richness and depth and that aspect of realism to your tale. Master mandatory in Melbourne at the moment, so hopefully my voice is not muffled. But this one aspect, it's very often overlooked. But when the masters do it, when the true heroes of the craft, Stephen King, John Green, your Brandon Sandersons, they'll do this. And it's not known to the reader what they've actually done, but subconsciously they're thinking, this tale, it feels real. It feels like it is actually taking place, and it's real characters, real events. Beginning and intermediate authors or novelists standing on a mossy rock, they often skip this aspect of very small aspect in writing, very easy to put in. They often skip it, and for some reason the readers subconsciously feel it hasn't got the richness and the depth of the great storytellers, and that's why they continue making the big bucks. I'll just get down, about dying. I just broke the rock. The aspect that we're talking about is bit players. Characters are in your story for mere seconds, pass by at a whim. Who could these bit players be? Talking about maybe your character, we'll just say he's a middle-aged man, young man. He may go buy a newspaper. So the newspaper man is a bit player. He buys the newspaper. How much? $2. Hands in the coins, he takes off. The newspaper man is gone. Police officer gets pulled over for a breathalyzer, gets breathalyzed and gone. Now, you probably wouldn't have him doing that unless if it was for a reason. Could also be just a person accidentally bumped into on the street. Anyone who's in the story for a few seconds. Now, how can we get these bit players that had massive richness and depth to your story? Now, let's take for an example, the bit player is going to be the person working at the cafe. They're just selling the coffee, the barista. Ask you about coffee in Melbourne. Johnny's is probably the world's best coffee. There's Melbourne in the background there. Okay, so he goes to the barista. Now let's just say in one aspect, this is an aspect where your story is going to be a little bit boring and not real. So he goes in, and let's just say your hero, he just found out that his wife wants to go on a break, at least. Not maybe a full divorce, but to go on a break like Ross and Rachel. And he's devastated, he's angry and upset. And he goes to get a coffee. Now if you want to have a story with no richness and no depth, he'll go in and he'll say, oh, I'll have a flat white with the perfect mix. The perfect mix is in Melbourne is 50% water, 50% milk. So he goes in and says, I want a flat white perfect mix. We'll say it's a lady, the barista, the lady. Say she's about 35. Story of no depth, she'll say that's $4. Makes the coffee, she says enjoy. And our hero we'll call Sam. Sam heads on his way. Now that's added nothing. There's no richness and no depth there. If you want to add richness and depth to that tale, all you need to do is with that bit player, the barista, can't remember what her name was, say Sue, all you need to do is briefly think, what's her backstory? How's her day been? What's her situation? You don't need to put it all in. You don't need to put any of it in, but it's going to affect the way that she interacts with our hero Sam. So remember, Sam's wife said she wants to break. It's starting to rain a bit. Hopefully we don't get ruined. Let's just say this Sue lady, she just found out her husband's been cheating on her. So she's really angry and hating on men now. She just found out her husband's been cheating on her that week. How's she going to react when she sees a guy about the same age? She's a nice person, I suppose she will still be nice, but it could just, if this moss is slippery, it could just affect her a little bit, make her a bit grumpy. So this time when she hands in the coffee, she'll come up to the counter, she'll be brusque, rude, she'll be grumpy, short and sharp. She might not even ask what he wants, she might just roll up and just stare at him as if to say, what do you want to order? And his own internal head's thinking, oh, and he might add some internal dialogue. My wife, wants a break. This woman hates me. There's something wrong with me. So that's what he's thinking. It starts to affect his tale. It adds richness and depth. And she serves the coffee. She slams it down on the table, even to take away, and a bit even spills out of the top drinker. And she hates him. Just gives him the roll eyes. Doesn't even need to speak. And automatically, it's going to affect him. And if his day's not bad enough, he's now Struth. Hang on. How'd you know? With some ibis. Now his day wasn't bad enough. Now it's really bad. Okay, so he's even more grumpier. And he heads off even grumpier and more grumpier at women. Don't do this at home, kids. So that's all you need to do to add greater richness and depth to your storytelling. Simply think of the background, what your bit player is faced for the day, and that will affect the way they interact with your hero. It's going to add great depth and richness to your tale. It's going to make it feel real, and that's why these brilliant writers, such as the Kings, the Sandersons, and so forth, make their story feel real. It's got that extra edge because they consider the backstory from bit players and they let it affect the way they interact with your protagonist. And if you want to have a chat with me, you can find me on my Facebook page, Swimming in Puddles, which is in line with my book, Swimming in Puddles, Create an Abundant Life from Limited Circumstances. And there we talk about inspiration for life and of course the book. So just go to Facebook, type in page and Swimming in Puddles and you'll find me there.